Hello and welcome back to another video. This morning we are sitting in the parking lot at what is it? I think it's Perfetti Candy Company. This is where they make Mentos and other candies, Airheads. I think I see gum line. Let's see, Extreme Bites, Airheads. So they make a lot of different things here. But the reason why we're here is we're about 30 minutes before the sun comes up, and right over here, all right, to my right is a pond, all right, that I'm thinking may look pretty good in the early morning light, especially this time of year. Now we're middle of October, but we're really not seeing much in the way of color yet, which really kind of surprises me. But you know, we'll do the best we can with what we have here. All right, as the sun comes up, and try to capture an image here. I'm thinking, you know, without having walked over and come up with a composition or anything, we'll try something with the 12 to 40, and we very well may use the 40 to 150 this morning just to see, you know, what we can capture. So we're gonna, you know, wait a little bit here till we get a little bit more light. Then we're gonna go over, set up, and see if we can capture, you know, an image. You know, and as when we get done, I'm gonna talk a little bit about photography. All right, and a video that I saw yesterday, that I think is pretty important. So thanks for coming along, everybody. All right, let's find us a composition, and then we'll be ready to take a shot. All right, so I'm walking over here towards the pond. You can see the sun is coming up here over my shoulder, or at least the light's coming up over my shoulder here. Right behind me, the pond is here, which you can't really see yet, not enough light, but it's truly nice. Now I can already tell one mistake I made, which was I thought the sun would come up towards the end of this, you know, but it's not. It looks like it's more to the left. It's not that that's bad, but certainly not what I was expecting. And there's, you know, it's a nice little pond. I got to figure out how I want to capture it. You know, not a lot of light, but at least not yet. But truly, and I was hoping for a little bit of, you know, because the temperature's a little cool this morning, I was hoping I'd get a little bit of, you know, mist or something coming up off the lake or off the pond. And maybe I can't really tell for sure, but I think I might be seeing some of that. All right, over here, got some trees and things. You know, really pretty interesting. And again, if you look over here, basically we got trucks and a plant. This is right next to it. So we're gonna keep looking for a composition, you know, and set up so we can capture an image. But nice morning. It's about 49 degrees this morning. You know, it's definitely in the 40s. All right, and it's, God, it's great to be out, you know, this time of morning. So anyway, let's stop yakking and find a place to set up. All right, so slowly the light is coming up. Now here's my settings, if you can, so you can see. I'm shooting at 2 seconds, f8, ISO 200. All right, and I'm +3. So again, I'm exposing a little bit to the right so I can pull out shadows. And I don't know what you can see here with the light, but got a couple little trees, sticks or whatever sticking out of the water here, using those kind of for foreground. There is a little bit of mist over the water as you look out. All right, this way, just not a lot of color. There's a little bit of brown, but I was really hoping for much more than that. But we will take it. And we're also working as a high-res shot this morning. All right, so here, all right, you can kind of see that's what we're getting. Nice reflection. All right, you know, you can see the trees and everything around, and we're shooting currently with the 12 to 40. All right, you know, and we're at, you know, again, right around 12 millimeters. 2 second. Now we're picking up a little bit of light. All right, I'm picking up a little bit of light because the, you know, we're now +7, so we'll have to adjust here. in a couple seconds. All right, move this down a little bit. Now, as I stand here and looking at this, I thought about shooting a little bit more to the left here. I thought about, being lower to the water. I don't know, for some reason I think being up at, the normal height here with Winston, is probably the right move, so we will, yeah, there's somebody's car alarm going off. Don't know if you can hear that. All right, so now we definitely got sun or the light coming up, so we're going to go back down to 3. Let's stay at F8. All right, let's change our here again so you can see. So we're at 1.3 seconds now instead of 2. All right. And again, we're shooting a 80 millimeter high res, at least for these shots, just to see what they look like. All right. It is interesting how it, moves everything around and is able to capture that. But, it is really pretty cool. Yeah, I was really hoping the sun would come up right here behind it, but obviously I didn't know it. I didn't know exactly what direction this pond faced, so it is what it is. But still a beautiful morning. Still great to be outside. Still a beautiful image. No matter how you look at it, it's still a beautiful image. All right, so I think capture another one here. All right, and then maybe switch over to the 40 to 150. All right, so, okay, so we've switched over to the 40 to 150. All right, and we're still shooting at f8, shooting down the lake, and it definitely gives a different perspective. I mean, here's an image that I just shot, so you can get an idea. All right, so you got a little stick here coming up out of the water in the foreground. You can see the mist and everything along here. Nothing really in the sky to talk of, and there's not really much in the way of color. The only real color is right over here and a little bit back there, but not enough to really, say much about. All right, it's just, is what it is. And again, right now I'm at 1/6 of a second f8. I'm +3. Again, exposing a little bit to the right just to try to capture anything, in the shadows. Now, the one thing I notice here on Winston, all right, when I put this lens on, see how it never, ever likes to tighten up here. So that always puts me in a bad spot. So then I gotta, work around it. So let's see what I can come up with here. If I loosen that and turn it. All right, not too bad. Now here, so you can see this again. So now, where I'm sitting with the settings I got, you can see I'm way overexposed here. Now there's nothing, as you look, there's really nothing there. All right, really worth even having in the photo. So again, you got 2 options. All right, I can leave it the way it is. Actually, got 3 options. I can leave it the way it is. I can underexpose. I can adjust that, or I can bring in my graduated neutral density filters. All right, to see what see if I can block that out. In this particular case, I think I want to leave it just like it is and take the image. All right, and so there's what you end up with. Now again, highlights here are blown out, so you're not going to get much. All right, you can't really bring much back when you see that. So now, I will go back to, and let's put in a grad filter. Let's turn it to on, whatever we got set here. So let's see where we're at now. What is that doing to us? All right, so we're -7. All right, you can see here. All right, I'm going to raise that up. All right, but we're no longer blown out. Okay. Technically, though, at this point, we're underexposing in the dark areas. So, can we pull out shadows from there? Or pull out of the shadows, I should say. Any detail? Don't know. We'll find out. All right, so I'm going to take a couple more images. All right, here's the lights coming up. See what I can capture. So anything I've captured this morning, all right, that I think is any good, I'll put it in here now for you to see. All right. Okay, so I've gotten some great images. Hopefully you just saw something you like. At least I think I got some decent images. Nothing in the sky, pretty much blah. Big shock. All right, that's kind of what happens. But as the light comes up, I mean, it's still a beautiful scene over here, over my shoulder here. Camera behind me, tripod. But, sometimes you get, absolutely spectacular morning light, and other mornings you don't. I mean, it's just the way it is. So you make do with what you got. Now I'm looking behind me here as I'm recording this, and I see a shot that I kind of like. So I'm going to probably take that here when we finish up. All right, so now, what was this video I saw the other day that I thought was important and we should talk about it? And it was, from Gito Velde. All right, who again, OM ambassador, somebody who subscribes to this channel. So hopefully, Gito, if you see this, love your stuff. All right, but he basically, finally started, or as he said, he's sharing, basically, how he got to where he is. All right, and the things that got him there, and it's an important type of video. I think people should see it because we all have things going on in our lives that impact us, tremendously, and they all ultimately, those things lead us somewhere, and hopefully, they lead us to a great place. And I think in Gito's case, it's led him to something he really enjoys, and it's something that he enjoys sharing with the world. And it made me think. All right. How did I get to here and where I am? And, and I share a little bit about, the stress and stuff that I deal with on a daily basis. And, I've worked, the bulk of my life, and I've, worked in a very stress-filled environment. All right. And it's always been difficult, all right, to balance everything in life, between kids, a wife, work, and really find any time, for yourself. And to be perfectly honest, I got back into photography back in the early 2000s, in the digital realm, all right, really kind of for the same reason, Gito was talking about, a lot of stress and a lot of things going on in your life, and you needed an outlet. And I find, photography really allows me to get away from all that craziness and actually just be comfortable, and all the troubles of the world, whether it's kids, grandkids, wife, work, whatever, they just all go away, and I can focus on reflections and beautiful scenes. And like I said, some days I get just spectacular, and other days I don't. You guys see that, and I share all that. All right, sometimes it's just not great, but the most important thing is it gets me away mentally from all the other stuff, all right, that's going on. And that absolutely drives me crazy. It becomes my outlet. It's become my comfort place, all right, or my happy place, I guess, if you go to Happy Gilmore. All right, it's my happy place. And I would assume there are several of you out there, same kind of thing, and that's what I was really hoping for, is share why you, all right, are into photography. Share it, let us know, put it in the comments. I'd like to see others. I like to believe that I'm not alone in this. I mean, this is my outlet to get away from everything. And the nice thing is here, as I move towards retirement in the next 5-6 months, I want to be able to put more time into this. All right, as I want a lot of that stress just to go away, and I want to be able to just, as I think I've said this in other videos, I want to be able just to enjoy what time I have left. I want to be happy. I mean, it's not that I haven't been happy, but it's the world that I'm sure all of us work in. All right, it makes it difficult to really always feel like you're in a good place. My kids, constantly share that, especially my oldest. All right, I know that she's struggling terribly with it. All right, with the stress of kids and life and trying to figure out how to pay bills and everything. And I can't get her to understand that she needs an outlet. All right, and that's just, maybe I'm not a good enough parent, but at the end of the day, I picked this up, all right, to give me the opportunity to put my mind on something and get away from that. And again, as I said, put some comments down below. Why do you do this? Or do you have those same problems? Do you think it's kind of crazy? But I've ended up on medications. I've ended up in the hospital. I've ended up with blood pressure issues. I've ended up with cholesterol issues, everything over the years because of all that garbage that goes on. And the one happy place I have is right here. All right, that's why I just love getting up in the morning, and going out. And even when I know when I get up, I'm not going to necessarily get the color I want, or I'm not going to get the sun that I want. All right, but I'm going to be able to just relax. And the thing I found here making YouTube videos is it gives me the opportunity to share it even more. And I like making the videos. I wish I had, hundreds of thousands of subscribers, but it's really not the reason why I do it. I do it because it's all an outlet. It gives me the opportunity to get away, from that craziness that I deal with every single day. All right. It is what it is, I guess. But again, remember, like, comment, subscribe. All right. Leave us some comments down below. All right. Yeah, hopefully you enjoy this video. All right. Next week we're off to the Smokies. All right, that'll be next weekend. All right, right around weekend. But we'll be doing a little bit down there, and those videos will be coming out, at least one, maybe 2 videos from there. Maybe, I don't know, I may end up with so much stuff I get to make 3. For all I know is, I may not end up with anything because I have no way of knowing. I'm hoping the color looks better there than it does here, but I'm not sure about that. But it's hit or miss. You schedule it and we'll see what happens. But I gotta stop rambling. All right, thanks for coming along, everybody. All right, until we see you again, stay safe.